All right. We are here and we are ready. Ephraim, you ready to handle it for everybody today, Doug? What are we talking
Of
about, man?
Listen, man, less admin, more impact, AI to the fullest. I mean, this is really some sweet stuff where we talk about automation. I think people may get confused on what automation and AI really is. So if we can talk about it, because you're the genius at it, man, I'm just a little piece of it all. But we could kind of talk about, man, what is this new AI wave that people are talking about where we can actually do more of the things that we love, is usually what I say, do more of the things that we love and less of the things that we don't. So we can just feel more happier on a day to day.
My first question is what is the future of your hybrid workforce looking like? And when I say that, I'm not talking about working at home or working in the office or a mixture of both, what people thought about was hybrid in the past. But I'm talking about what are your new digital team members going to do in the future of your business? Because guess what, Ephraim? Your new digital coworkers are here today and they're having a huge impact across the entire spectrum of business. And so today we're really going to be talking about the role that AI agents play in the future of business, how they're transforming organizations, how they operate, how they're not just tools, but they're these digital team members that work hand in hand, side by side with our human team members, like you said, to free them from the redundant, repetitive, and sometimes joyless work that we get caught doing. And so, if you're a leader out there who's leading a mission driven organization, a nonprofit, or you're leading a small team that's looking to be more impactful, today's little live stream is really for you. And the biggest thing that we're really going to try and do for you guys is we're going to try and enable you with what an AI agent is, what makes it different from a chat bot, from something that has a predetermined logic of automation, like Ephraim was talking about, and how we can really get you guys adopting what these new digital team members can do to help amplify your mission and impact. And so, man, I'm super excited for today's conversation because guess what? AI agents are everywhere, from Salesforce to nonprofits to education to mission-driven organizations to how government agencies in different countries are actually using AI agents. We're really going to dive into all that, man. So I'm excited to be here, brother. My first
Same,
question
man.
for you, Doug, is when was the first time you ever heard of AI agents? Do you remember what year it was?
This year, actually.
Okay.
It had to be earlier this year or later last year. I think I was working with a client and he was so excited to tell me about these agents. And when I would say last year, I really started to dive into AI, and obviously ChatGPT, the Gemini, the Claude, all these different things is all I knew. So when this guy is kind of talking about AI agent, he's putting faces to these things, and I'm like, wait a minute, like they can do what while I'm sleeping, and really having a whole team, right? Going back to kind of lowering that overhead cost and really putting people in play 24/7, and given that work ethic that we haven't seen in a very long time. Not saying that I work 24/7, but I have a great work ethic, all right? But you're telling me there's somebody out there that's going to work harder than me, even when I'm sleeping. So when he told me that, and I'm still not probably as educated as you in this space, so I'm actually excited to even learn, just kind of being here, asking questions that a lot of our listeners that may be listening actually have, but they're just too afraid to ask in the comment section.
So here's one of my questions for you. If you were a business leader today, a founder, a CEO, a team lead, and
Yeah.
you found out an opportunity where you had the ability to hire a team member who worked 24/7, never got sick, never took breaks, needed to be trained once on the information that you give to them. And
Okay.
they were always there to show up in front of your customer, to lead them towards resources, to give them additional guidance, to give them whatever they needed. What do you think that would do for your business? Because normally we're working from 9 to 5, right?
Yeah. I always say it's going to help me buy back time. It's going to help me scale even when I'm sleeping. I mean, just some of the things I could really think of, and just allow me to do more of the things as I mentioned before, do the things that I really love. More importantly, so I mean, do you have some of these AI bots already out there, man? Like, what's going on?
So one of the things that we've been doing since November of 2022, when
Wow.
OpenAI dropped ChatGPT, is we've been figuring out as Francis, how do we leverage AI for our partners? Now, 95% of the organizations that we work with here at Francis are what we call mission-driven organizations. They find
Mhm.
themselves in the space of working with communities, being on the front lines, providing critical services like human services, disability support, mental health, substance use. And if you know the current landscape of, our administration and the landscape of legislation, many people are being challenged to do more with less. And
Yeah.
so we tried to figure out, how do we pull levers on technology that allow for our partners to amplify their impact and always answer the bell when people need support. Now, before I start diving into the initiatives or definitions of what AI agents are, I want to talk about one of the initiatives that we have here at Francis, which is called Closer to Zero. Now, this is kind of rooted in a little bit of a story, but we help many organizations who serve the community by
Mhm.
supporting families with kiddos with disabilities. Now, one of the biggest things that we've challenged or taken on over the years is helping families get from a diagnosis for their little kiddo when it comes to
Yep.
autism and getting support right away. So we created an initiative called Closer to Zero. And our initiative was, as soon as someone raises their hand and says, hey, I need help, I need guidance, I need a trusted resource in the community, they should be able to get that answer. But guess what was happening before the advent of AI? I'll give
What was
you a
that?
little story about one of our partners. In Las Vegas, one of our partners, called the Ackerman Center, right, has a 6,000 family wait list for services and
Wow.
diagnosis in our community alone. So this is Las Vegas, Nevada. Clark County, small bowl within the city of the desert, right? 6,000 families are waiting. One of the biggest opportunities that we saw was, if we can position these AI agents, or at Francis, we call them AI helpers, to be able to answer the bell for people 24/7, 365. Imagine the impact that that would have on a family when they're looking for resources, guidance, or figuring out, what do I
Yeah.
do next? Because normally people had to wait days, hours, and sometimes, worst case scenario, weeks to hear back from somebody. And when we're talking about those type of delays, man, that creates so much uncertainty, so much doubt, and so much fear in a family's mind. And we have to use technology to accelerate people, to get them from raising their hand to support as quick as possible. Does
I
that make
even
sense?
add even a couple of more feelings to that, man. When just think about when you're in the unknown and how uncomfortable that feels, the anxiety, right? I'm not getting things fast enough. Am I worth it? That's, the imposter syndrome. Like, there's so many really things when we think about from a business level, what the ripple effect that is created when someone is unanswered. They're already lost. They're already seeking out for help. They already don't want to do it, but they're doing it. And now you're telling them to wait weeks, months, and sometimes actually forgotten. You forgot that part. Sometimes
Mm.
it's just forgotten, man. So I love it. And one thing that's cool is you guys been doing this for a very long time, but your team is very small. Is that intentional because you are also kind of showing the proof of concept within even your own business? Because as I met you and I've seen what you guys are doing at Francis, I realize a very small team, but you guys move like there's 50 of you guys.
I love how you say that, because how I look at the lens of AI agents is they're amplifiers. They help us do more with the same impact of our team. So we're 13 deep right now at Francis, but it feels like we move like a team of 25 at least, because we're always
Mm,
able to show up, we're always able to be there, we're always able to answer questions, and always have an impact for our customers. Now, I think that you're 100% right. I am trying to engineer a business here at Francis that is small but mighty. I think a lot of leaders today are finding themselves in the position where they have to challenge the way that they think about what the
mhm.
future of their teams look like. And AI agents, hands down, are one of the best levers that you can pull to help your organization do more with less. But instead of talking about, some of the what you could do, let's get into some
Mhm.
hard facts.
Okay.
So what I want to do is, I want to share the definition of what an AI agent is, so people are all on the same page with us. Now, AI agents are autonomous software systems that can perceive their environment. They know what's going on. They can
Mhm.
make decisions, and they take actions to achieve specific goals without the constraints of human oversight. Meaning, this is a piece of software that is so smart that it understands the context of what it's supposed to accomplish, and it's able to make its own decisions to drive people towards resources, do certain tasks, or be able to help people in certain ways that do not take any over any human oversight. Now, what do you kind of think about that definition, man? What does that mean to you from like the layman's terms?
I think a lot of people may just think chatbot, like that's just the easy go-to. Um, how do you break that barrier? Like, not even what I think, man, but I sit here and I understand it because I'm in it a little, right? But there's people that are seeing this for the first time. There's people already that are scared of ChatGPT and a Claude and a Copilot. But now you're telling me, wait a minute, you're not a chatbot, you're AI agent. Like, if we can kind of dig into that a little bit more, like what is the difference there?
So the evolution went exactly like you're talking about. It went from chatbot to smart assistant to autonomous agents. Now, we started in the world of chatbots, and these things got very popular during the pandemic. I'm not sure if you're aware, but I
Mhm.
saw a ton of people on social media, a ton of businesses standing up chatbots because
Yeah.
we had to be digital first in how we communicated with our customers. But here's the frustrating part about chatbots, and we've all experienced this. When you go to a website, right, and you're looking to find more information, you see a little widget in the bottom right-hand corner. What do? You click on it, right?
Yep.
And then the first thing that pops up is, hey, I'm Botman, and here are the 4 options and how I can support you. Now, those structures are very rigid, they're predefined, and they have a logic tree based behind them. But what happens 9 out of 10 times? When I click on those widgets, man, I'm always screaming, representative, let me talk to somebody, please,
Yep.
team member, team member. And I'm just trying to get past the layer of automation so I can actually speak to somebody, right? Now, I'm not sure if you've had any experiences with that, but what's your experience when you hop onto a website and you see a chatbot there? What's your first thought?
I mean, is this gonna work or not?
Mm.
It happened to me recently where I had to do it 4 times and tried different options, and it was still giving me the same damn outcome, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, this just is not." I forgot what it was, man, but it was
Was
driving me
that
crazy.
helpful? Was that helpful? You're like,
I
no, that was
know.
not helpful, right? But the difference is when you start messing around or you actually interact with an AI agent, right? An autonomous agent, there's a couple things that it's going to do. First of all, it's going to understand your natural language. So it's going to understand what you're trying to accomplish in multiple different languages. So if I'm speaking French, Spanish, Tagalog, the list goes on, it's going to understand me and what my needs are. Now, it's also going to be able to make decisions based on the context that I give it to drive me towards specific resources or enable me with specific assets that I need to make a good decision. But here's the other thing, it's always learning. And this is what I would say why AI agents are so powerful is because they're always getting better based on all of the different interactions that they have. Meaning, if I had a conversation with Efrain and he asked me about this yesterday, I'm going to have that in part of my understanding. And so when he asks the question the next time, I'm gonna be able to put him towards the resource quicker. Now, they're also going to be able to execute on specific tasks that you assign to them. So if you have, a customer service agent, it's going to be able to get you the email responses. It's going to be able to pull data. It's going to help you reset your password. It's going to be able to do all those things without human oversight. And it's also going to be able to interact with multiple systems, meaning it's going to be able to pull data from here, access information from this warehouse, and go from place to place and help you actually understand how it can support you throughout that journey. So much different from that, I would say, standardized architecture, right, of a chatbot. And what a beautiful place to be, man, especially
Yeah.
as we get into 2025, 2026.
It's like a whole bunch of different minions out here, man, just
Minions, that's good. Exactly.
what are some common mistakes though that you're seeing that people are making when implementing these AI agents? I can imagine there has to be mistakes. It's not you make it sound easy, it sounds cool, but what are some mistakes people can make?
I mean, so a couple mistakes I think people make are thinking that they don't have to train their AI agent specifically on their information, right? Here's one
Mhm.
of the biggest, I would say, juxtapositions that we see about how agents are treated today. Now, if you're dealing with an AI agent like ChatGPT from OpenAI, GPT-5, it's been trained on the world's information, meaning it knows
Okay.
so much about the world, from dietary restrictions to what's happening across the globe to the
Mhm.
economic standards for different countries. It doesn't know exactly the details that are important for your mission and your organization. So when I think about one of the first mistakes is you have to give the AI agent context to your specific mission, meaning it needs to know what your outcomes are, what your values are, what your characteristics and how you guys communicate as an organization, and also what your brand standards are. So when you train an agent, it understands you, your mission,
Mhm.
and literally becomes that team member. Many people make the mistake of saying, hey, we can just use ChatGPT, which of course you can from a certain perspective, but you're only getting the top layer of general information,
Okay.
not the details that really make a difference to your customer.
Man, so when you say train, like I'm physically having a conversation with this thing, like am I feeding it something? Like what does it look like?
Great question. So when we're talking about training, I'm not talking about hopping into the gym and hitting the bag a couple times, but I'm talking about giving the agent information specific to your organization. So I want you to
Okay.
we use this analogy here at Francis. When we partner with our partners, we give them what we call an AI box. Now, their AI box is empty when we get started,
Mhm.
and we go through a process together where we identify what information from PDFs, policies, procedures, website information, documentation, Everything that you can imagine about the organization, we're building the brain of the AI.
Got it.
Now, when you're building the brain, you want to give it as much context as possible with
Mhm.
updated information that the public is going to want to gather. So think about it as like being able to create a folder, if you will, that everything is Francis, right? And we give it to the actual AI, it ingests that information, and it becomes better over time.
And how do you measure success?
I mean, there's a couple ways you can measure success. One is we can talk about what are some of the key KPIs, right, for the organization. Is
Yeah.
it reduction in phone calls? Is it reduction in frequently asked questions? Is it speed to response? Is it
Okay.
more enrollments? Is it more people feeling supported by the organization? Is it engagement levels go up? Is it higher levels of donations? Is it speed to value? Which is one of the ones I talk about with my partner a lot, or my partners a lot, which is if we're doing things like enrolling people in community-based
Mhm.
programs or getting them support, what were we doing before we implemented our agents? How
Mhm.
long did it take for people to show interest, get access to services? And then how long did it take after? And I've got some examples that I'd love to share with everybody a little bit later as well on how impactful these tools can really be for people.
I love it. So will you say that before we get there and you give that knowledge, will you say that this because you've created this platform to help via communication, right,
Mhm.
between an organization and their community? Is that an AI agent? You're helping someone create an AI agent to answer more questions, to be more prompt, to be on tone, to be on brand. So you ideally help people that may not understand this. You help them really build this one AI agent. There's multiple we talked about, right? But you help them build this one AI agent so they can actually do more of the things that you love. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. So I'll give you a great example. A lot of the organizations that we focus with are having huge demand for their services in the community, meaning people are getting referred to the
Okay.
organization, people are asking questions about services, XYZ. So what we do is we stand up their AI agent or their helper is what we call it. We train it on all of the public facing information from the website, PDFs, education, resources, community partnerships, hours, locations. So when people reach out, they have the ability to say, oh, well, if I have the ability to text this organization, it's a lot easier than me having to make a phone call, block out my busy schedule, make sure my kids aren't loud in the background, and be able to ask questions. And when we do that, we accelerate communication, time to
Mhm.
value, and time to support for our partners as well. So that's exactly what we're doing is building these agents.
You're saying partners, man, and people. It's one of those. If they don't see it, they don't believe it. They don't hear it, it's not true. So when you talk about organizations, these organizations range from what? Like hospice? Is it nonprofits? Is it healthcare? If you can throw out some names so people can kind of relate maybe organizations to theirs.
Yeah, let's talk about a couple. So we have a huge organization, one of our long-term partners in the Pacific Northwest called Compass Health. They're a
Okay.
community-based mental health and substance use organization. Now they serve a huge swath of a Medicaid population above Seattle and or west of the Rocky Mountains. So think
Wow.
about Northwest Seattle, all the encatchments that are up there, all the islands. People are engaging and actually interacting with this organization 24/7 and getting access to services, which is beautiful. We're
Wow.
also working with one of the largest healthcare systems, UHS, across the United States, about 400 hospitals that we support from discharge coordination. Meaning, hey, I'm leaving the hospital. Normally, when you leave the hospital after a surgery or a diagnosis, you leave with a huge
Yeah.
packet of information. But guess what? We lose that information. So what do? We put an AI agent or a health resource in front of the patient when they're leaving the hospital. So now they can text, ask questions specifically about their diagnosis. What should I expect 4 days after my knee surgery? What
Mhm.
happens next in my congestive heart failure diagnosis? Are these things normal? And the AI agent's able to give them the information that's inside the packet and escalate to a human counterpart. We're also working with community-based disabilities type organizations, like I talked about in the Ackerman Center in Southern Nevada. We're also working with hospice organizations. So there's many different ways in which we can apply this technology, this digital team member, if you will, to be able to support the organization 24/7, 365. And we're always looking for new types of partners who believe in this type of vision for how they're going to digitize their organization and make sure that people can access them 24/7.
I love this, man. I mean, I feel like more people got to really jump on to what this looks like and just being so helpful. And what is there a testimony that you recently received that allowed you to realize, like, man, this is why we do it? Because I was part of a conversation with you at some point within the last few weeks, and I share this often with people on the podcast when I talk about your product, because I think it's special that someone that didn't even know you existed was receiving a message from one of your AI agents, or not even your AI agents, another company's AI agent that you helped create. And that actually allowed them to say, you know what? We need something like that. Is that one of the testimonies, or is there other testimonies you would like to share? And can we kind of get
There are
into that?
so many testimonials. One of the ways in which we've been able to support many different types of organizations, I'm going to use an example in education that I
Okay.
haven't really shared here. We support one of the nation's largest allied health education system, a higher education medical school that is in 26 different states. Okay.
Wow.
Now, one of the things that we did in starting to work with this organization back in 2023, which is actually really cool, is we implemented their AI helper named Sunny in their admissions process, admissions and financial aid. Because if you know anything about higher education today, there is a huge challenge in getting the time when people say, hey, I'm interested in coming to your school, to finding out how is the government or how is financial aid going to be able to support me? Am I a good fit? Am I going to get into the school? So many back and forth questions.
Yeah, yeah.
When we first started working with the admissions team, they said, we're spending about 30 minutes per day on each phone call. So my day starts with me banging the phones, trying to catch up on all the phone calls. After we implemented their tool, we actually found, and I had a conversation with the admissions director who said, for the first time in years, my team has had the ability to answer every single phone call that's come in on time. We've never been able to do that before. Why? Because we now have our digital team member, Sunny, who's answering questions on our behalf 24/7, 365.
Wow.
So think about the freedom and just the lightheartedness in coming into work and knowing that you've got team members that have been working for you all night long, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning,
Mhm.
6 a.m. before you guys open. People are getting the support they need, and that burden doesn't fall on you. Talk about freedom, man.
2023, man. So you've been doing this for some time. That, and we talk about just, helping that one organization since 2023, but you've been doing this for 11 years. Very, very. I think when I talk to you, you're very beyond. You just see the future, right? I think we talked about it offline when you talk about social media, when you talk about the internet boom, and this is the boom, and it's here. It's not going anywhere, and I think every single day people are getting more accustomed to this. I mean, we've had conversations with people that maybe early in the year were a little afraid of AI, and so many people actually in the space of, oh no, this is great. I'm kind of behind, and I've spoken to people that are, you say AI, they smile now, like, oh my god, I wish I would have learned this sooner. What's realistic to expect in the first 90 days when you start to implement something like this? Because it's not like it's going to change your world. I mean, it will, but it's not going to happen overnight. Even in the first 90 days, you're going to see growth. You probably won't see, 0 to 100. What do people expect
I
realistically?
mean, a couple things that I like to talk about is the organizations that are going to be successful in 2026 with AI are the ones who started in 2025, because you're developing these systems, you're learning what they can do, they're becoming more powerful, they're becoming more refined, and
Mhm.
they're becoming better for you every single day. It's incremental improvement through reinforcement in your mission. Now, one of the things I want to say very transparently is, while you're debating whether AI is ready or is ready for your organization, your partners or your competitors are already serving millions of people with the same amount of staff, raising 83% more money because they have smarter donor engagement. They're curating operational, I would say, efficiencies by 40% by leveraging these digital team members. And they're operating 24/7, 365, while you could be simultaneously operating between the hours of you guys being open. And so when we talk about developing these systems, these are investments, which is
Yeah.
really, really important to understand. This is an investment into the future. So over the first 90 days of what we do is we stand up these systems and we're constantly refining. We actually have a 90-day window that we call co-pilot. So we're not talking about Microsoft here, but we are talking about us being able to co-manage your system with you to make sure that all the answers are correct. The voice, the language, the characteristics of how we communicate are on point to your brand. Because in those early days, we're going to find that your AI might be trained on your organization, but guess what? The one variable that we have is your customer. They're going to ask lots of different questions. They're going to identify through the conversations what areas you might have blind spots to. So we're always, for those first 90 days, optimizing your system, filling in any of those data gaps, and being able to kind of optimize these systems so we can move into our second 90-day period, which is called autopilot. So autopilot means that this system has been trained, it's been reinforced, it's been tweaked, it's been adjusted so it can actually meet the needs of your organization. And as we kind of continue throughout that process, your system just gets better and better. The beautiful thing about these AI agents is we have to train them once. Imagine, if you're a team leader, how beautiful it would be to only train your team member one time on a task, one time on information,
Yeah.
and never have to tell them again. Sounds like a dream for all the managers out there that are struggling with all the overhead training and the constant repetition that we have.
But I can imagine that a lot of people that are listening right now are asking themselves, but is it HIPAA compliant? Like the safety, the security measures of putting my stuff into this box that you're talking about without others actually gaining access. Because I think we know that people can actually lose funds, people can actually lose their license. There's so many different things and aspects on what they can lose. And I think there's a fear on that. It's like, well, it's not safe enough for us because Chat GPT is not safe. The cloud is not safe. But is this safe? Like the products that you're talking about, this AI agent.
So one of the things, and I'm glad that we're actually touching on this because I was hoping to bring this up in another live stream, but security is incredibly important. Now, in the gold rush, which we're in right now, 2025, of AI agents, a lot of people started developing solutions without the security infrastructure that was necessary to make sure that your data was protected. Some of the horror stories that I've heard was, we had to develop an AI policy because unfortunately, some of my staff members were doing things like putting in personal information, maybe birth dates, maybe social security numbers, maybe HIPAA compliant records, maybe documentation from a client interaction into things like ChatGPT. But guess what? When you put them inside of those type of boxes, they're using that information to train the model. So what we do is, first of all, we are HIPAA compliant, SOC 2 certified, meaning we take data protection incredibly seriously. But what we do and how we build your AI box is your data is housed in a secure data warehouse, is how I like to say it. And the only way that we're interacting with AI is for the conversational nature of the questions that are being asked. So all information is anonymized, redacted, and protected when it's being sent back and forth from the API of the AI model, which is very different from a lot of organizations because they're saying, just take my policies, take my procedures, take my information, ChatGPT, learn about this. But guess what? Once it learns that information, like we talked about, you only need to train it once. Now that information can be divulged to other people that are asking about that stuff as well. So you have to protect your information, man.
And how about for the person, because I can't imagine that, okay, we created this AI bot or AI agent you mentioned, and it's just going to run on its own. There's still someone that has to manage this piece. What does that look like from a day-to-day perspective?
We call that a human in the loop. Okay. So one of the things that we have to be very transparent about, and I think it's important to say, is that AI is good by itself, but it's amazing when it's combined with the power of a human team member. So one thing that we always encourage our partners to do is they hop into the platform and they have a part of their day which is dedicated to monitor the conversations that are going back and forth with the AI. Now, how we implemented human in the loop is our system can actually automatically create a ticket, meaning if it can't answer a question or it's uncertain, instead of hallucinating, which is the terminology of making up an answer, we have an automatic response that says, I'm not sure, but I'm going to collaborate with one of my team members and get right back to you. The same way a person would. So what happens in our system? A ticket is created. The team member from our partner organization is notified. They hop into the platform, review the conversation, and then give their human expertise inside the conversation to answer that question. When they answer that question, that automatically becomes part of the AI brain. Now the AI doesn't have to go back to the human team member in the future. It becomes better through all those micro interactions, which is really important.
So am I really saving money though? Because now I have to have someone kind of almost monitor a different platform. Like, is there
So
really a cost saving there?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when we talk about once again, an investment into what the future of the organization looks like, how many organizations are paying people to sit on the phones and answer the same 16 questions time and time again? If we
Yeah.
can take those 6 team members out of that role and make that one team member with their AI agent collaborators, then those other 5 people can do things that are more important. Well, what's
Right.
more important than answering those FAQs? It's showing up, being the person who can build relationships. It can give their undivided attention to somebody who needs it and comes through the front door or actually calls the organization for a time.
Yep.
Being able to put them in the position to build the human connection, I think, is where we as humans are going to continue to thrive, while AI takes away all those repetitive, redundant tasks that aren't huge value adds for how we serve our communities.
I love this information, man. I love this information. I hope the people that are actually watching are and taking this as well. What advice would you give someone just kind of starting to explore these AI agents? I mean, we're having this conversation. People are excited about it. They want to explore. They just kind of unsure.
Yeah, guys. I mean, like the first question is like, are you ready for AI agents? Well, in order to help you guys out, one of the things that we at Francis did is we actually created an AI readiness assessment. So I'm actually going to throw this onto the screen right now. So give me 1 second. We're going to toss this guy up, and we are going to show. Let me remove this guy as I get ready with StreamYard. So we actually created a AI readiness assessment for you guys. This is 12 questions. This talks about what organization you're a part of. So you can literally go through this process and say, hey, I'm a disability service organization. Okay.
Okay.
How many employees do I have? I've got 50 to 100 employees. Okay. What's our annual budget? Are we under 5 million? Are we over 100 million? You can go through this entire process, answer these questions, talk about how your organization is actually serving your community and where some of the opportunities lie currently. And what's going to happen is you're going to get an assessment score at the end of this. Now, it's going to actually break down how much time you can save by leveraging AI agents for some of these repetitive tasks. It's going to talk about some of the opportunities you should think about in positioning these AI agents in the organization and some of the financial impacts that you can see. So a good example that I like to talk about, Ephraim, is if I have team members who are answering FAQs and I pay them fully loaded with benefits, $27 an hour,
Yep.
and they're spending 6 hours of their day answering these questions back and forth, how can I reposition them in the organization to have a true human impact by creating connection and allowing for our AI agents to handle a lot of those other types of tasks? And so we really kind of think about the numbers have to make sense. And your AI readiness assessment is actually going to be in the comments section. We're actually going to share it in the show notes after the conversation as well. So you can go check that out and take a free resource from us at Francis and see if you're actually ready for the AI readiness assessment and actually leveraging these AI agents as well.
Oh man, this sounds fun. This is when I think about it, like I could just envision myself with 5 little minions. Like this is what I want to call them. It's just minions, and doing the work because a lot of you kind of mentioned it, doing more of the things that we could just more focus on the people, more focus on the experience. I mean, when we talk about hospitals, right? What does that experience look like? Is where we can actually have an eye-to-eye conversation with that patient. And I think some of these things are you're seeing it not what you guys are doing, but just an AI note taker at the hospitals. But there is still the back end where they can use an AI agent that can help them, as you mentioned, with resources and information and plugging into our CRM. I love that how it just kind of transforms data back and forth. And we haven't even talked to think about a lot of that, how you can kind of to your CRMs, different CRMs. People say, well, I got HubSpot, where I got Epic. Well, the great thing about Francis is that you guys actually are plugging into a lot of these things. It's not just an app that someone has to just download, right? That you can integrate with a lot of these different things. I think it's pretty cool, and I'm excited, man. I'm excited for what's next for Francis. What is when you think about where we're at today, 2025? What is the goal for 2026 when we talk about just
2020,
helping others in AI agent space?
2026, man, is all about transformation and disruption, right? We have many partners that find themselves in, I would say, legacy spaces when it comes to adoption of technology. Primarily, 95% of the organizations that we work at Francis are nonprofits. Nonprofits today find themselves more challenged than ever to do more with less. But they're also in the midst of a digital transformation. Meaning, when I first got into the healthcare space in 2014, 11 years ago, it was when EMRs were being mandated, meaning there was an electronic medical record, meaning we had to take all of our notes from being on pen and paper and digitizing them and take them out of file cabinets and putting them into drop boxes as an example of technology. We are still in the midst of this transformation. And transparently, if we are going to be able to serve our communities, have an impact, create better work culture, and keep the helping culture of the people in our communities raising their hands so they can help others, we need to make sure that we're adopting this technology. So 2026 is all about disruption It's all about alignment with the partners who believe in this future, because the ones who are going to be successful in 27 are going to be taking 26 very seriously, man. And I'm excited for what this journey is going to mean. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely utilizing more AI agents. I'm going to prepare myself for 2026. Right, there's a lot of automations, but I think when you plug automations in with these AI agents, you're really building a force to be reckoned with. So a lot of you guys that are watching and say, "Well, I do have some sort of automation." Well, that's just kind of the tip of the iceberg. There's so much actually more that you can integrate with those things. So I think it's really educating yourself in the space of AI and what is automation, what is AI agent. There's so much different AI. And Keen, we're gonna have so much fun that we're gonna be breaking down some of the myths. We're gonna be breaking down some compliance security issues. We're gonna be breaking down different models of AI, and really kind of getting some insight on what Francis is doing in the AI space. You guys are experts, and I don't think people realize this as much. But as I sit here and I work alongside you and I see some of your clients, and I'm really kind of in the, I would say, workshop educational piece of it all, that I'm gaining so much insight that a lot of people need to know. So we're doing this because we want people to show up better prepared for 2026, to continue to innovate. I hear the word innovate so many times, but are we really innovating when there's something right in front of you that is game changing and you're still not doing it? Right. So we want to make sure that people are educated in this space, because we realize there was a lack of that. And I'm just super excited to be a part of this, man. Keenan, what should we expect the next conversation?
I mean, we're going to continue to keep diving into all the important conversations about how we're positioning this technology, how it's going to be placed. But very transparently, guys, the only way that this live stream is going to continue to be impactful and provide value is if we're answering your guys' questions.
Yeah.
So in the comments, if you have an opportunity to say, hey, listen, today's conversation was great, but I'd love for you guys to touch on this a little bit more, or talking about the training element of AI, or how it's positioned, or the ethics behind AI. These are all really important modalities that we should continue to explore as a group and as a community. And so if you guys have suggestions, let's all dive into that. We're going to start talking about what the front.
I got one more question, Keenan.
Yeah, go ahead.
Wrap it off. What is too small or too big for an AI agent?
What is too small or too big for an AI agent?
Company size. Like
Company
if I'm
size?
one, yeah, if I'm like, maybe there's just 10 of us, can I get an AI agent? If there's 50 of us, should I get an AI agent?
Man, you're gonna get me talking about one of the subjects that we've riffed on a little bit, but one of the founders, the CEO currently of OpenAI, Sam Altman, has a group chat, and I've talked about this on previous podcast episodes, where he talks about we are dangerously close to seeing the first billion-dollar company that has no team members, one founder. Okay. And that is all because AI agents have the ability to amplify one person to be $1 billion team. So when you ask the question, is there an organization too small for AI agents? Absolutely not, because there are people who are going to be one person founders who are going to build gigantic businesses on the back of AI agents. Now, they can amplify themselves. So imagine how powerful a team of 100 can be with AI agents as well. So there is no team that is too small. There is no team that is too large for AI agents. That's kind of like being in the age of, or in the year of like 2001, and being like, well, what type of business should really be on the internet? Because there are small businesses, there are large businesses out there. Is there a size? The future of business is going to run through AI. It's going to be a layer that we all experience. So the objective is to get comfortable, get confident, and get after it, so we can start thinking about the impact that we can have in our communities, man.
See, we got to start wrapping this up. I got too many questions. My mind is going right now. This is getting crazy, Keaton. Keaton, send us home, man.
All right, guys. Well, once again, I just want to challenge you to think about, what does the future of your hybrid workforce look like? If you're a leader, if you're a founder, if you're thinking about starting a business, if you're a team member today, lean into this technology heavier than ever, because the investment of your time and your curiosity is what's going to help set you apart for the future. There's a famous saying that said, AI is not going to take your job, but people who understand how to leverage and work with AI will. And that is the one opportunity that we have, is be early, be curious, and be excited about what this technology can mean. And don't get caught up in the ideas of saying that AI is the bad guy. If we can collaborate with these tools today, we can create better freedom for ourselves. We can create better workplace culture. We can accept what the future is going to look like and lean into it 10 toes down. And I'm excited to see what everybody gets creative with out there from an AI perspective, man. So
I love this. I'm Efrain. This is Keenan. We'll see you guys on the next one. Later.
Check it out. See you guys. That was great.